Okay, copy these notes down. Here we go. This is something new. It's going to seem simple, but it's going to get complicated. So follow through and definitely watch the second video. Okay, we're doing function. Copy this in. Function operations. Another way you see it, you'll read it in the book. It says arithmetic operations of functions. And this word arithmetic is talking about our basic, or operations. The arithmetic operations are obviously our basic operations in math, right? Adding and subtracting and multiplying. Oh, nice. That's not multiplying. Multiplying and dividing, right? Okay, but right now, honestly, you're only going to focus on adding and subtracting, and you're going to think like, oh, I know that. But believe me, you're going to get a little bit lost, especially with the function notation. So here we go. Let's talk about that function notation. Here it is. The function notation, the way they're going to write, remember they just try to make something look more complicated than it should be. It's kind of what's happening here. That's the notation I'm talking about. This function notation, it's going to look like this, right? Here's the one for the sum. Right, again, they're going with fancy words, but you know the word sum and you know the word difference. Right, the good thing about the video, if I'm going too quick, you guys can pause it, you guys can copy things down. Sum is addition. Difference is subtraction. So let me show you the notation here. For sum, I'll do that one first. The notation is going to look like this. What if you see a problem that says parentheses f plus g close parentheses of x, like this? Right? If you see, and again, it doesn't matter the letters, but you see obviously the adding is the plus sign. Well, this really means is kind of look at the first one and kind of think of like distributive property. The first one is the function of x. The function of x, and then the operation is plus the function of x added to what? And then you look at the next one, which is the function of g. The function of f, the first one added to the function of g. This is the way they're going to write it, but this is really what you're doing, and this is what it means. This is the fancy notation, but this is what it means. That you, whatever this function of f of x is, add it with the function of g of x. Well, sometimes they will write it like this, the first easy problems, but after that they're going to write it like this. This is the fancy notation, but it really means this. And similarly with subtraction, you'll see something like f minus g. You'll see that in the parentheses like this, and then the variable over here. And sometimes they use n or x or whatever, but it doesn't matter. You look at it the same. So what if you see an f and a minus and a g, or whatever letter they choose? And again, it doesn't matter here. How do you interpret this notation? Well, the first one is f of x minus, and then minus the second one, which is g of x. That's what this is. This is this little shorthand notation. This is the function notation, but this is what it interprets to, and this is what you're going to do. Okay, so again, believe me, the first one's going to seem pretty easy, but then it's going to get complicated. It's going to be tricky, and it's not because of the notation. All right, so let's do a couple of them here. Let's work on some of the problems here. Again, for this assignment, you're only doing adding and subtracting. Believe me, it's It's gonna look confusing, but once you understand it, it'll be easy. So watch all the videos. Watch this one, and there's another one, right? A second one. Okay, so problem number one. Let's say they give you the function f of x is equal to 6x minus 4, and they gave you the function of g of x is 3x plus 10. All right. If they make it pretty straightforward and they don't use the function notation, you'll see a problem that says to find this. Find f of x plus g of x. Well, wasn't that pretty straightforward? That's pretty straightforward, right? Because I'm going to get this function of f of x, which is 6x minus 4, and add it to what? The function of g of x, which is this one over here. Oops, I forgot to put an equal sign here. Which is 3x plus 10. See, you're adding them. And you do want to use parentheses. Believe me, you think it might not matter now. It's going to matter later. Believe me, just trust me. I know that this is the f of x. I know this is the g of x. And the addition, I'm good to go. Okay, so here nothing's going to... I mean, the addition is straightforward. Nothing's going to really change. So we just combine like terms, right? This is really, 6x minus 4 plus 3x minus 10. And you combine the 6x with the 3x, so that's 9x. And then I add the 2 negative 4 with the negative 10. Okay. This is the answer, right? You just get 9x minus 14. Okay, that one was so easy. I know. You're like, that's not hard. Well, no, this is number one. I'm starting really easy. Okay, number two. What if I have, and let me spice it up a little bit here. What if I have for number two? F of x is equal to, you know what, I lied. It's not f of x. It is g of n. See, they'll try to trick you with changing the letters and stuff. Don't let that mess you up. G of n is equal to, oh, nice. N squared, that's an n squared, guys, sorry. N squared plus 5n, right, because the letter's n. N squared plus 5n. And they tell you that f of n is 8n minus 9. Now you're already saying, wait a minute, something doesn't look right. This one has a squared, this one doesn't have a squared, and then this one has a number, and this one doesn't have a number. See, they're gonna mess you up and kind of try to trick you in that way. But let's get this problem going. This one's gonna be, what if they just say straightforward g of n minus f of n? Well, the g of n function is this one here, so you write it in parentheses. That'll be n squared plus 5n. But see, now it's a minus. So see, subtract, you better be careful when it's subtract. And then this is why I do want you to use the parentheses. And f of n is what? Eight n minus 9. Okay, so I'm sure you're gonna set it up right. Make sure you copy it right here. You put subtract, copy this right here. And why do you have to be careful for a subtract? Because really this is not a 8, right? This negative is going to change it. This negative one has to distribute. So it's really going to be, nothing changes for here, so I can just drop the parentheses, n squared plus 5n. But here, this is going to change to what? It's going to change to a negative 8n. Because negative times positive and negative is going to be a positive 9. See, it's going to change. So, careful with that. After that, we just combine like terms. But wait a minute. Here's another tricky thing. We got squares, and we got n's, and we got one number. So what happens here? Well, n squared is the only n squared. There's no other one, so that one stays alone. These can combine. That'll give you a negative 3n, right? 5 take away 8 is negative 3. And this is the only number. There's nothing else to add it to, so that's just goes along for the answer. All right, so the math is like adding and subtracting, but just wait. It's gonna get a little more tricky. All right, moving on to number 3. Now here's where the notation comes in. Well, number 3, what if they write it like this and they tell you f of x is equal to 8x squared plus 7x plus 2, and g of x is equal to 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. Oh, it'd be nice if you could see it, huh? 8x squared plus 7x plus 2 for f of x, g of x, and then this, now it's going to look like this. It's not going to be, they're going to use this fancy notation. What if they write this to find this? Parentheses f plus g of x. You see, that's the part I was telling you in the beginning, right? This function notation that I was showing you here in the beginning. This function notation where when it looks like this, what does it mean? It means this. Or when it looks like this, you really have to know that it means this. And that's what we're seeing here. So this looks weird, but you got to know what that means. This is equal to, right? It's equal to what? This problem is really saying what? F of x plus g of x. All right? That's what it's saying. This, you got to, this notation, you got to know that it really means this. Okay, that's not too bad, right? And then now we get f of x. What is f of x here? F of x is what? Okay, f of x is this 8x squared plus 7x plus 2. And yeah, let's put it in parentheses. Plus, well, the good thing is plus is not going to really, not going to mess anything up. And g of x is what? Oh, g of x is this one here. So that's this 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. Right? And then you just combine like terms. Combine like terms. Again, the addition doesn't change anything. So when it's addition, you're okay. But when it's subtraction, it does affect the signs of this second function, right? So I add the 8x squared with the 2x squared, so that gives me 10x squared. The 7x and take away 3x, that is plus 4x. And 2 take away 1 is plus 1, right? We can add it straightforward. Okay, number 4. Okay, last one for this first video. Here goes. G of n is equal to negative 4n squared plus 9n minus 5. And h of n is equal to negative 7n squared plus 2 minus n. So here's another thing you got to watch out. If you noticed, I did something here on purpose, so they're going to do something here to mess you up. See, this one is in correct descending order. The polynomial is in correct descending order with the highest degree of the polynomial, the highest exponent, n squared, then n, then the number. Whereas this one, see, they wrote it incorrectly. They wrote this one incorrectly. Maybe you want to fix it now. You see, this is not the right order. Okay? So you might want to fix it and make sure things are always in the right order. This is not in the right order. It should be what? It should really be negative 7n squared, and then the negative n, and then the plus 2. See, watch out for something like that. They try to trick you. Okay, so now what's the question for this one? The question is, or the problem for this one is, right? Now that I see that these are in the correct order, what if the question is h of n? Oh no, I wrote it wrong. Sorry. It's going to be parentheses h minus g, and then of n. You see, they could write it like this too. That's fine. So what does that mean? So you got to know what this means. This means what? This is equal. It means what? It means the first function is h of n. The h of n minus what? The second function is the g of n. And so now, which one goes in front right here? The h of n function, which is this one here. Your h of n function is this one. Negative, and I already wrote it right in the correct order. Negative 7n squared minus n plus 2. Oh, put parentheses. Look, this is exactly what I mean. Because look, when it's minus, it's gonna change. This negative is going to change this one, right? But don't change it yet. Let's just write this one in. The g of n function is up here. This negative 4n squared, in parentheses, negative 4n squared plus 9n minus 5. See this? So then this is not really going to be, it's going to change, right? That negative is going to change it. So I'm going to keep this one, the negative 7n squared minus n plus 2. And watch what I'm going to do here, right? I'm going to keep this one. This one's fine, and actually it's in the correct order. And does everybody agree that when I distribute this negative, that's going to change from a negative 4n squared to a positive 4n squared? But look what I'm going to do. Instead of writing it like this and having one big long kind of thing with a bunch of numbers, I'm gonna actually write them under here and group it. That's gonna change to a positive 4n squared, and look, I'm gonna write it under here, right under the 4n squared, the n squared. Then that's gonna change to a what? From a positive 9n to a negative 9n, and I write it under the n. See that? And when you write them in order, they should fall in place, right? And that negative is gonna change that negative 5 to a positive 5. See, and if you use this vertical alignment, right, then you can just add like this, and you can get the answer right for each one. Okay, so what is the final answer here? Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3n squared. That's going to be negative 1 and negative 9, negative 10n. 2 plus 5, or yeah, plus 7. Okay, now what you're going to see next, and that's why I want to make sure you do watch this next video, is you're now going to see something like this. It says f plus g, and instead of an n or an x, it'll have a number like negative 2. See, that's what you got to see. This is what I'm going to show you next. All right, so it's going to get more challenging. All right, watch this next video. That's it for this one.